Hi everybody, I'm Mrs. Turnberg. I'm the speech language pathologist at Birchland Park Middle School. Today I'm going to be reading you the Wuggie Norple Story by Daniel Pinkwater and pictures by Tomie dePaola. In a little house in a little village not far away from Thunderbolt City lived a whistle fixer named Lunchbox Louie. He had a wife named Bigfoot the Chipmunk and a little son named King Waffle. Every day, Lunchbox Louie would kiss Bigfoot the Chipmunk and King Waffle and walk to his shop in Thunderbolt City. Bigfoot the Chipmunk would wave goodbye to Lunchbox Louie until he was out of sight. Then she would sweep the floors, make the beds, and chop up onions for supper. King Waffle would sit in his backyard, hitting a big rock with a little hammer. Some days, King Waffle would walk with his mother, Bigfoot the Chipmunk, through the streets of the little village and out into the fields. Some days, they would walk all the way to a little lake called Norsewort Pond. Bigfoot the Chipmunk would bring some food in a basket, and she and King Waffle would sit beside Norsewort Pond, eating a picnic lunch and playing with the wild caterpillars that lived there. In the evening, Lunchbox Louie would come home from Thunderbolt City. Bigfoot the Chipmunk and King Waffle would be waiting in the doorway when he came up the road. Lunchbox Louie would always bring something from the city for Bigfoot the Chipmunk and King Waffle. Sometimes he would bring a coconut. Sometimes he would bring a pair of eyeglasses made out of candy. Once he brought a rubber turtle that danced on a string. Bigfoot the Chipmunk would fry up the onion she had chopped that morning. After supper, the family would sit outside the house, and Lunchbox Louie would play tunes on a whistle he had made from a carrot. One evening, when Lunchbox Louie came back from Thunderbolt City, he had a special present for King Waffle. It was a little orange kitten. King Waffle named the kitten Wuggie Norple. The next morning, when Lunchbox Louie had left for his shop in Thunderbolt City, and Bigfoot the Chipmunk had waved goodbye until he was out of sight, after Bigfoot the Chipmunk had swept the floors and made the beds and chopped up the onions for supper, King Waffle sat in the sun in the backyard, hitting the big rock with a little hammer, and Wuggie Norple pounced on his feet and played with his toes. When Lunchbox Louie came home that night, he noticed something. He noticed that Wuggie Norple was a bigger kitten than she had been the day before. "She's as big as a bulldog," Lunchbox Louie said. "She doesn't seem any bigger to me," Bigfoot the Chipmunk said. "Maybe you're still getting used to her." The next day, when Lunchbox Louie was about to leave to walk to his shop in Thunderbolt City, just before he kissed Bigfoot the Chipmunk and King Waffle goodbye, he looked at the cat, Wuggie Norple. He thought Wuggie Norple was a bigger cat than she had been the night before. "It seems to me that she is just a little bigger than a bulldog," Lunchbox Louie said. "She seems the same size as before to me," Bigfoot the Chipmunk said. "Maybe you are not used to seeing her in the sunshine." Lunchbox Louie walked away from the little house slowly. He walked away from the little village slowly. He walked toward Thunderbolt City slowly. He was thinking about Wuggie Norple, the orange cat, and how she seemed just a little bigger than a bulldog. When Lunchbox Louie came home from Thunderbolt City that night, he had something under his arm. Bigfoot the Chipmunk and King Waffle could see it a long way off. It was something big and white. When Lunchbox Louie got closer, they could see that it was a bulldog. Lunchbox Louie put the bulldog down next to Wuggie Norple. "This is Freckle-Faced Chilibean," Lunchbox Louie said. "As you can see, Freckle-Faced Chilibean is a bulldog, and as you can see, Wuggie Norple is just a little bigger than he is. I hope you are satisfied." think Freckle-Faced Chili is a little bit bigger than Wuggie Norple," Bigfoot the Chipmunk said. "They look about the same size to me," King Waffle said. Wuggie Norple growled at Freckle-Faced Chili and Freckle-Faced Chili ran and hid under the sofa. The next morning, when Lunchbox Louie was about to leave for the shop in Thunderbolt City, he said, "Wuggie Norple has grown during the night. Now anybody can see that she is bigger than Freckle-Faced Chili. In fact, she is almost as big as a 6-year-old razorback hog. It does seem to me that Wuggie Norple is a tiny bit bigger than Freckle-Faced Chili, Bigfoot the Chipmunk said. "But she is nowhere near as big as a 6-year-old razorback hog," King Waffle said. Lunchbox Louie walked away from his little house slowly. He was thinking about Wuggie Norple, about how she was almost as big as the 6-year-old razorback hog. During the day, Wuggie Norple made friends with Freckle-Faced Chili, and they chased each other around the rock while King Waffle sat hitting it with his little hammer. That night, when Bigfoot the Chipmunk and King Waffle and Wuggie Norple and Freckle-Faced Chili went to the door to wait for Lunchbox Louie to arrive home from Thunderbolt City, they could see that he was carrying something very heavy. He was walking slowly and stopping to rest every few steps. When he got closer, they saw that he was carrying a big hog. "This is Paper Cup Mixmaster," Lunchbox Louie said. "As you can see, Paper Cup Mixmaster is a 6-year-old razorback hog, and as you can see, Wuggie Norple is almost as big as he is." "Oh, Wuggie Norple isn't that big," Bigfoot the Chipmunk said. "Wuggie Norple isn't even half as big," King Waffle said. The next morning, Lunchbox Louie said, "Look, Wuggie Norple is bigger than Paper Cup Mixmaster." "Well, almost as big," Bigfoot the Chipmunk said. "Maybe a tiny bit bigger," King Waffle said. "Bigger!" Lunchbox Louie shouted. "Bigger, bigger, bigger! She's as big as a young horse!" Lunchbox Louie walked slowly away from the little house. During the day, King Waffle helped his mother, Bigfoot the Chipmunk, build a pen for Paper Cup Mixmaster. That night, when Bigfoot the Chipmunk and King Waffle and Wuggie Norple and Freckle-Faced Chili and Paper Cup Mixmaster went to the door to wait for Lunchbox Louie to come home from Thunderbolt City, they saw that he was carrying something very big and very heavy. "This is Exploding Pop-Tart," Lunchbox Louie said. "As you can see, Exploding Pop-Tart is a young horse. And as you can see, Wuggie Norple is every bit as big as Exploding Pop-Tart. I hope you are satisfied." "Nonsense," said Bigfoot the Chipmunk. "A cat can't be as big as a young horse." "Wuggie Norple isn't anywhere near as big as Exploding Pop-Tart," King Waffle said. The next morning, Lunchbox Louie said, "As I live and breathe, Wuggie Norple has gotten even bigger. She's even bigger than Exploding Pop-Tart." "Not at all," said Bigfoot the Chipmunk. "Not at all," said King Waffle. "Not at all," shouted Lunchbox Louie. "She's as big as an elephant. You'll see." During the day, King Waffle rode Exploding Pop-Tart around the backyard. Paper Cup Mixmaster snuffled and grunted in his pen, and Freckle-Faced Chili and Wuggie Norple chased each other around the house. In the evening, when Bigfoot the Chipmunk and King Waffle and Wuggie Norple and Freckle-Faced Chili and Paper Cup Mixmaster and Exploding Pop-Tart went to the door to wait for Lunchbox Louie, they saw that he was carrying something very, very big and gray. "This is Laughing Gas Alligator," said Lunchbox Louie, who was all out of breath. "As you can see, Laughing Gas Alligator is an Indian elephant, and as you can see, Wuggie Norple, the cat, is just exactly the same size as the elephant." "You know, actually they do seem to be about the same size," said Bigfoot the chipmunk. "They are exactly the same size," said King Waffle. "Well, finally," said Lunchbox Louie. The next day was Saturday, and Lunchbox Louie didn't have to go to work. So he took Bigfoot the Chipmunk and King Waffle and Wuggie Norple and Freckle-Faced Chili Bean and Paper Cup Mixmaster and Exploding Pop-Tart and Laughing Gas Alligator and a big basket of lunch, and they all went to Nosewort Pond for a picnic. The end.